Hey, I'm Scott Conant. You may know me as a rotating judge on Chopped. Today, I'm gonna cook some cabinet pasta. So basically, this is the thought process. You open your cabinets, you don't know what to cook for dinner. You see some leftover pasta, a can of tomatoes, maybe there's a can of tuna inside there. What do you do with it? Open up your refrigerator, you see some basil, maybe there's some olives. You got some extra virgin olive oil, salt, and some crushed red pepper. Let's make dinner. So first thing I'm gonna do is put a pot of water on the fire. I'm gonna cook the pasta directly inside that. And the idea for this is, as long as it takes to cook the pasta, is how long the dish should take to be completed. All right? So, hot water, it's boiling. I'm gonna season this water so it tastes like broth. It's important. I think it's important because if it's too salty, or if it tastes like the ocean, what happens is you cook with it later on and you cook your pasta in your saute pan and you add that pasta cooking liquid to adjust your sauce and it reduces too much. If it tastes like the ocean, it's gonna frankly make your whole dish too salty. So I added some salt to this. I'm gonna add a touch more. I want it to really, again, taste like broth. So it has that perfect saline content. So we have our salt in the water. It tastes just like broth. I found some bucatini in the cabinet. So we're gonna take a good sized portion, maybe for two of you. Maybe there's two of you, quick dinner, eat a pasta in front of the television, right? This is a good portion for two. Bucatini, in case you don't know, is a long pasta. It's an extruded pasta. It has a hole directly. Buca in Italian, or buco, means hole. So bucatini means a tiny hole. Basically, bucatini inside the pasta water. We're gonna let that cook. I'm gonna grab a pair of tongs to make sure that bucatini is really under the water. It's very important that we manipulate that pasta so it's cooking and we're pushing it under the water without breaking the pasta. Of course, we wanna make sure that this pasta is maintaining its integrity. The integrity of the pasta is there for a reason. It's the way the artisans made it. It's old history stuff. I wanna make sure that we're all cooking it accordingly. Hot saute pan. We're gonna add a good amount of oil to this so it really covers the bottom of the pan. Off the fire, I'm adding some tomatoes. Directly inside there, splattered all over the place. If you don't want to take that pan off the fire and hold it, you could easily shut off your fire, your flame underneath the pan, and then of course, turn it back on when it's done. So as that pasta is cooking, I have the tomatoes cooking down. I got some basil right here. I have some olives. I'm gonna add a pinch of crushed red pepper. I like a nice spicy pasta personally. I'm gonna add a little more crushed red pepper than maybe you would, but you can adjust the crushed red pepper the way you see it. We have some basil here. We're gonna chop it up. Again, the pasta is cooking nicely behind us. By the way, you don't even have to chop this basil if you don't want to. You could just break it up inside the oil. Let's do that. And I love this transfer of flavor as well. You're tearing this basil into the oil with the tomatoes. There's there's a really nice perfume coming off of this pan. I'm gonna chop up some olives here. Now, these are Gaeta olives. You can use Kalamata olives. You could use any olive that seems fit, anything you have in your pantry, however you're comfortable. A little bit of olives, and we have a can of tuna here as well. So it's a real can of tuna packed in olive oil. You could use whatever you have in your pantry, if it's packed in olive oil or if it's packed in water, whatever you have. The idea of this is not etched in stone. The idea of this is for you to utilize things that you have in your pantry to make your life a little bit easier. So really it's about extraction of flavor. Really it's about putting inside this little pan things that you have on hand. So I'm going to take a fork. I'm going to break this up a little bit. I'm going to add it directly to this dish inside this saute pan. And as you notice, we don't have a lot here. I mean, it's really enough for 2 people. There's nothing crazy going on. We'll add a little bit of the pasta cooking liquid now. So we got a simple, straightforward pasta here. If you have some basil, if you have some parsley, if you have oregano, whatever you have, you could utilize. This is not about a recipe as much as it's about understanding the ingredients that you have and how to best extract some of that flavor in a very quick manner to make dinner. A pantry pasta, so to speak. All right. Bucatini's cooking. This is my grandmother's favorite shape of pasta, so it's always close to the heart. Whenever I see bucatini, I think of my grandmother. "20 or 30 more seconds, this pasta should be done." I'm going to taste it just to make sure. So bucatini could be a little bit tricky sometimes because there's a hole in the center. And you would think because it's so thick, it's going to take a little extra time. But the fact of the matter is that that hole throughout the center really kind of, it speeds up the cooking process. So I say it needs another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll finish it directly inside this pan with the tomatoes, the olives, the tuna, the basil, the extra virgin olive oil. Let's see what we got. I want to make sure that the flavor is on point. And add a pinch of salt to this. Has a good spice level. I think you're going to be happy with what we have here. I think you're also going to be happy that there's no rules with this dish. This is one of those things that you're just utilizing what you have on hand. All right. Bucatini. If you have some canned sauce, for example, and instead of the diced canned tomatoes, you want to use a tomato sauce, you could do that as well. I mean, this is literally something that you could utilize with whatever you have on hand. All right. You could see there's this emulsion being formed between the olive oil that's in the pan, the starch that the pasta is releasing, the liquid from the pasta itself. There's a lot of stuff going on in this little pan, and it's all about flavor. All about flavor and utilizing what you have in-house. Also, this is one of those things Italians will make called what they call a spaghettato, or a spaghetti mezzanotte, which is like a late night snack. They make spaghetti aglio olio, they make some kind of pasta that they have with stuff laying around. And this is just, it's a great way to utilize things you have on hand. All right, I think we are there. I think that there is a nice texture of the sauce itself. I'm gonna add a little bit more liquid to it because I did cook it with a lot of extra virgin olive oil, and it tends to break that sauce, so I wanna make sure that it's really nicely put together. I'm gonna shut this flame off, and we are ready to go. I'll tell you, this is one of those super simple, typical Italian dishes that you're lucky you're having in your repertoire. That's it. It's exactly what I saw in my mind's eye. So this pasta is really something that I hope you enjoy. So this is all working really well together. There's a little acidity from the canned tomato, a great salt content from the olive, really nice texture from the tuna as well as flavor. It's upfront flavor. That basil adds that perfect backdrop of perfume and familiarity. This is a really good pasta. It's something you can make just with what you have on hand in your cabinet. It was really fun cooking alongside you today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something.